What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Business in Biceps. And you better wake your ass up, because on today's show, we're going to talk about traits of an entrepreneur. I believe there's traits along our entire lives that have showcased that we are these people, and you might be too. What do you think, John Fosco?
These people. We are these people, like we're like a subset of aliens or something.
I think we kind of are, dude.
Yeah, we might be. I don't know. But at the end of the day, I agree. Listen, entrepreneurial traits can be identified in 10-year-olds. They can be identified in 5-year-olds. They can be identified in anyone in and out of the workplace. And I think it's going to be a very interesting discussion because hopefully we'll shed some light on some things that people have thought about.
What do you think, Mo?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm pretty much trying to reinforce the same thing you all are saying. I think that there's things as you look back on them now that you see lined you up with wanting to be an entrepreneur. I think like we're in a time now where people can take advantage a lot earlier than what they could in the past. And I can't wait to dig into the show and just talk about some things I had in my early childhood that let me know that I was an entrepreneur.
11 years old for Mo, baby. Yeah. 11 years old, baby.
All right, it's brought to you by Honeybook, honeybook.com.
Oh.
If you got a new business, you need to have a certain amount of things set up. And it's really frustrating when you're early on in business and you don't have these things like purchase orders, invoicing, and a whole slew of others. At honeybook.com, they have all that for you plus more. And they're going to give you 50% off your first year if you use the promo code BICEPS. I would highly recommend it, whether you're a brand new personal trainer, whether you're just new hustling merchandise, whatever you're into, you must check out honeybook.com. And we got CommonBond, Mo.
CommonBond is the only place to go if you have college debt. CommonBond.co/biceps is the website. They save people on average of $24,000 over the lifespan of a loan. I always say it. You took 10 to 15 minutes to fill out the application to get yourself in debt. You need to take 10 to 15 minutes to get into a situation where you can refinance your debt. And CommonBond.co/biceps is the destination.
Well done, Mo. I think, without further ado.
I think Mo's becoming a great salesperson, but yes, without further ado. Yes.
John, you didn't even have to work in that segment. That's amazing.
What I love about it is Mo is coming to a place where he has his own tagline and he's delivering it harder and harder every time. Mo, you are becoming a fucking stud salesperson. Let's go.
There we go.
And without further ado, it's time for Fosco's World.
There we go.
Oh, let's go, baby.
So last time I seen you, you had on your favorite Nikes and you stood about 6'9".
Yep.
You looked about 245 and you were happy.
Oh, fuck yes, I did. I really think so.
Yeah. And to my belief, I don't think he had his glasses on.
He did not.
He did not have his glasses on.
Oh shit!
So that takes an inch off of you, right? You're about 6'8" right now.
Right.
But hailing from the Windy City, I can't wait to hear what your segment is all about. But none other to the stage, Mr. Donnie Fosco.
Yes, I heard the crowd, and I know you guys did too. And I'm fucking hey guys, I'm excited today. Are you guys excited?
Really excited, man. Couldn't wait to get back on the mics, man.
There we go. All right. So Cory Gregory, in light of your skill set, I'm going to tell a story. Okay. I'm going to tell a story like Cory likes to tell stories. I feel like fucking story time. Okay. I get a phone call. You hear me? It's about fucking 9:15 p.m. You know, I'm just fucking being Barry White chocolate over in my place, just taking it easy, you know, after a hard day of work, just Barry White chocolate over here. And I pick up the phone and it's a friend of mine who's recently been inserted in a corporate system trying to move up. And we're talking and I get asked for advice. And this individual who's a friend says, listen, man, I got fucked over at work today. I don't know what to do about it. I said, tell me how you got fucked over at work today. Okay, well, we had a conference call scheduled with the regional, and me and the other manager were supposed to give our plans on how we're going to carry out this project. So I get there and I have 1 hour of time from the regional manager. That's how it's scheduled. The conference call is from 1 to 2 p.m. So that is my time along with the other manager to talk to our regional. And then I'm thinking, okay, you're missing something already. But then he goes on to explain that he was the second individual to supposedly talk. And by the time it got to him, the regional said, well, I got to move on to another call. Why don't you two figure it out and plug me in later? And my dude was so fucking pissed off. He thought he got gypped so bad because that regional manager owed him so much time that he was convinced that he was just wronged. And I said, hey, when you got in there and you're on this conference call, there's 3 people, right? Your partner or your co-manager's talking. I said, what are you doing? Oh, you're waiting your turn? You're waiting your turn? Okay, you're waiting your turn. And then what did your regional manager say to cut off the conversation? Oh, I got to go take another call. I said, how long into the conversation did the regional manager do that? Oh, 25 minutes. Okay. And it was allotted for an hour. You just got disrespected openly and you did nothing about it. And it's like, no. I was supposed to get that time. No, you weren't supposed to get that time. You, just like it says on my fucking forearm, real power can't be given, it must be taken. You were supposed to take that time and use it to show people what your ideas are, what your skills are. But you waited. Like we talk about on this podcast all the time, waiting is not a strategy. So not only did you get punked by your other manager who connected with your regional, but you sat there like a little bitch. You sat there on your fucking hands, waited your turn, and your turn never came, motherfucker. Well, your turn's never going to come if you wait for it to come. And let me tell you another thing. When people are in power above you, just because something says on a schedule from 1 to 2, they don't owe you shit when it comes to their time because they're fucking busy. And if they make a judgment call to abort mission and move somewhere else, guess what? Whatever was being spit or whatever not was being said didn't keep their interest, and they felt their time was better used somewhere else. And it literally took me about 45 minutes for it to sink into his head. He's like, well, what should I have done? I said, when she said, I got to run, I would say, excuse me, sir, or excuse me, ma'am, whatever the regional was, I want to bounce my ideas off you and go take it. Because anyone in a corporate structure, when you say to them, I have ideas that can improve this project we're working on, if they're a regional manager, if they're higher up in the food chain, that's what the call's for. But the reason she left is because she felt there was nothing else being offered. And her time is more valuable used elsewhere. So just for you people out there that think that people who are higher up in the food chain owe you something, that you don't literally have to kick and scratch and fight and win to get your ideas out there. Business is a battle of ideas. It's a battle to be heard. And once you actually get that chance, get that pedestal to be heard, motherfucker, you better deliver. Because what happens is, if you would have stepped the fuck up when that regional manager said, I got to go, and you said, hey, hang on, and you delivered some fire ass ideas that would improve the project for the company, now that regional manager just pinned your ass and it was like, that person has initiative, that person came at me, that person stopped me, but god damn it, they came with some real fucking shit. So what people need to do is they need to take their little pussy ass egos, their soft bullshit, and stop saying, that was my time and I didn't get it. No, you didn't take it, motherfucker. And that's why you're sitting there talking to John on the phone when he's just trying to be white white chocolate. That's it. That's it.
Go ahead, Mo.
That was a great way to end it right there, right?
You like that? Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm usually that person who's trying to listen to people's ideas, or people kind of trying to come at me. And you're 100% correct. The people who have seemed to get to me over time are the people who are a bit more aggressive, and they'll do anything to either get my time, make my time, say, hey, I'll jump on a call with you in the morning, at 5:30 in the morning when I tell people to call me if they do have an idea or want to have an important conversation, or they'll send me a brief email describing what they want to do or what value that they'll add. But to your friend who did, I guess he lost his opportunity. One, anybody above you doesn't owe you their time,
No.
and things come up all the time. And the person who's above you always spends their time doing what's best for the business. And that may be hard for him to digest, but that was great feedback. But to anybody, if you're a listener, and I'm usually a guy that people are trying to get my time to give me an idea on something. And oftentimes you don't have all the time because you have your own schedule to be pushing. And oftentimes it's the person who's most aggressive and person who's showing you that they're eager and showing you the value of it instead of bitching and complaining. You could be doing just that, being a lot more aggressive towards getting somebody your idea so they can implement or potentially implement it or at least discuss it to see, how do I weigh this idea towards or in comparison to your other gentleman, the other guy who had his first 30 minutes.
Yeah, so my strategy on stuff like this, because, I'm a more reserved cat most of the time, I always outline as they're trying to get off the phone, I'll say, hold on, whatever their name is, I need 120 seconds. I need 2 minutes. And then if you're confident about the pop about what you're about to say, it's going to impact that conversation, which will earn you the other 15 minutes if you got it.
Yes.
I've done that multiple times. Hey, I know you got to rush. I need 2 minutes to basically outline what I got. Boom, 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 boom. If that provokes another thought or a question or interest, then you're going to get that 20 minutes. If not, they're absolutely moving on because they think their time there is done and needs to be, used somewhere else. That's my strategy with it. If I know what the fuck I'm talking about, it works almost every fucking time. Every time.
Yep. And I'll say this in closing, man. It's like people need to understand and they need to remove their egos. You are fucking nobody until you're somebody. So when you are in those situations, if you don't fucking metaphorically take the microphone and start spitting fire, you're always going to be nobody. So if you want to be somebody, come with the fucking information, grab the mic, and spit some fucking fire. Let's go, Cory. Let's go to Cory Gregory time. Let's fucking roll, dude.
All right. Thanks, Johnny.
Yeah.
So I had a real, we just came off the Arnold Classic weekend, which is the Super Bowl in the fitness area. And I really had a great surprise. I was at an Arnold
was it
event
seeing me? Because I think I looked really good at the Arnold. I got a lot of compliments on my beauty. No, on my beauty, number one. Number two, on my physique. A lot of people thought I was competing and winning. Was it that, Cory? Was that the surprise?
I was actually not surprised by any of those things,
okay,
or the small T-shirt you were wearing at the booth.
Oh, this fucking guy! This guy wears mediums and he's talking to me this way. The disrespect.
We should have got the remember the guy with the shirt walking off.
Come on, man! That's what we need to start doing on IG. There's some jokers, motherfucker.
I don't want to ruin your segment.
All right. So
y'all made me think about him. I don't know why.
We were all there, but we're gonna be there in a major way next year. All right, so I'm at the event on Friday night. I always do a charity event with Arnold for After School All Stars and go and bid on stuff and just kind of be around and try to help or whatever. And so, I was real excited. I saw that David Goggins happened to be there. Now, David Goggins is one of the top Navy SEALs that's kind of ever went through the program. He has a book out right now called You Can't Hurt Me. He, had severe abuse as a kid and, went through, I think, Delta Force and Navy SEAL. The dude does ultra marathons. He is a fucking certified hard, crazy motherfucker. Straight up.
Top 5 in the world.
Yeah, for real. And there's only been 36 men of color that have been a SEAL, and he's one of them. And he kind of led that charge and got more people involved from that standpoint too. Which
very
is really
politically
cool.
correct. Very politically.
That's pretty good,
correct.
Right?
Yeah, very politically correct.
He's one of 35 black dudes that have been SEALs.
Okay.
And so what was cool is I've been listening to his book, right? I read a lot of the same stuff, but I've been on to his stuff while I've been lunging. And I started thinking to myself, like, I see people coming up and talking to him and, whatever. And I was like, I'm going to get this motherfucker's attention because I know he's fucking crazy. And I know he will absolutely love that I just lunged 100 miles. Like, no question. Because anybody that's into ultra marathoning or just crazy ass exercise stuff, they're going to fucking, there's a respect, right, Mo? You see where I'm going with this?
Yep.
So this is the way I look at this shit, right? I do all this shit that has crazy discipline. I try to push myself, and you never know when you're going to have to pull that golf club out of your bag, like to use it, right?
Well,
That's the way I look at it.
I pulled that golf club out of the bag last night. Just to continue.
Oh, but that's kind of like a golf term where it's like, oh, I got to hit this shot. Oh, I got that, right? And so that's kind of how I felt. I was like, when I approached this guy and say, yo, Mr. Goggins, I want to holler at you real quick. I'm going right to that because I know it's going to get his attention, and it's exactly what it did. And I got real conversation because of it. If I hadn't disciplined myself to push myself like that, I wouldn't have that.
Absolutely.
And so this is how you create relationships with real motherfuckers, in my opinion. So I walk up, my man Fairfax is there that had brought him in. And I said, hey, Mr. Goggins, I want to, say I've been listening to your book, probably just like what everybody else says to him, right? I said, I just finished 100 miles of lunges over the last 200 days. And, it's made a huge difference in my training. And I figured you would enjoy hearing that. Maybe you'd want to try some shit like that. He looked at me and he goes, I love that shit. Right. Right. And then the motherfucker grabs my leg to see if I'm bullshitting him. Because if not running,
Cory, how high on your leg did he grab?
Like right above my knee, like my quad.
All right, just
it wasn't
making sure, dude.
Yeah, it wasn't no shit like that.
Okay.
It wasn't even weird because the way he was like intense, like I love that shit. And then he like fucking grabbed my leg to see if I was bullshitting him. Because look, if you lunge 100 miles, your legs fucking swole up, right? And my legs swole the fuck up. So I flexed that shit as hard as I can. He looks at his wife. He's like, grab his leg. Right.
Oh,
so right.
Oh.
So and then she goes like this. I know what he's going to be trying tomorrow. And he goes to me, he goes, I never did no half mile, but I did 1,000 of them. Right. I said 700 is about a half mile. So I said 1,000, that's like almost a mile. And so what was cool was then the conversation became just, respectful and, it wasn't super long, but I got a chance to get a picture with him, share kind of some of the things that I thought his book had done for me, and just really get to talk to a person that, I aspire to in some type of way to be like. The guy's a fucking animal. And there's just not too many people that you get to meet, that you have something that you can say that initially will give them, you can feel the respect back, at least to a certain point, to get their real attention, not at a surface level. And you just never know when you're going to use these things that you do on a regular basis. And in that moment, I believe that when I try to get him on our podcast, I believe I'll be able to get it done because he's going to fucking remember my ass straight up.
Let me tell you this. The only thing that kept ringing through my head as you started to talk about the connection was nothing real can be threatened.
Yeah.
You make connections with real people talking about real shit. You don't have to make anything up. You don't have to lie. And I think that reinforces, just like living in your reality, exchanging your reality with people, and real people connecting with real shit. So that's what went through my mind as you were talking about that.
Yeah, it felt good to be able to throw something like that I knew was going to hit a nerve. 100%. So, John, have you ever ran into some situations like that before?
Yeah. What I was going to say is like, so from seeing him online, and obviously I think you said you read his book, like you know his MO, you know how he operates, and you know how intense he is. And, guys like that who are, let's say getting a lot of attention in today's society, they're just, man, I think they're so worn down with the fanboy shit, with the fucking someone or the rich guy who wants to impress them. And they're just like, probably the reason someone like that may walk around and not look so enthused is because they're not fucking enthused. They want to get back to their hotel room and live a normal life. And I think by bringing it to a normal level, like you're talking kind of his shit, like, he pushes his body. He's known for obviously ultra pushing his body. And you just talked about something, how you pushed your body, whether it's what he does or not, he can identify with your purpose in wanting to do that. And I think more people need to talk about things they do that don't have to do with material and have to do with almost the material of their insides, right? Like what I'm made up as an individual, because that is, I think, where true connection is made. And I think you were speaking his language, and I think that's most likely probably why something there clicked. And I think that's it's a great strategy.
Yeah, I was just even thinking about that. that dude is so impressionable on like everybody. You know, so I don't care. And he's not an athlete. He's just like a stone cold hard motherfucker, right? And I just thought about that. I was like, and as John was talking, I was like, man, when you were a basketball player, football player, some sort of athlete, those are like the only guys that sign autographs and take pictures of some sorts, right? Sure. And I just thought to myself, I can imagine how many people come up to him.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? That has nothing to do with your point, but to John, what you were saying, I was like, I didn't know if I even thought about that. I was like, man, motherfuckers got to bother him every fucking day.
Constantly. And with nothing. They're not saying anything.
Yeah, what to say. Right. But it's all so even though you got a picture to him, most people's deal is like fanboyish, add no value, have no real conversation, just let me get a picture.
Well, here, think about it like this, Mo. In that environment, I had just bid on some stuff. I just done, like, I could have went up and said, hey, David, I sold this much products at MP. I got this many companies. I made this much money. He don't give two fucks. You know what I said? David, I liked your book. I just got done lunging 100 miles. I'm a former coal miner. And yeah, I've had some success in business, but I like fucking pushing myself. And that's why I love your shit.
That's the connection.
100%, dude. And it is a strategy, John, because I always say I want to make friends with guys like this. Like, I want them to know what I'm about out the gate, because that other shit's just a byproduct of what I'm really about. And I think that is a strategy when you want to be around motherfuckers that can push you or learn or create some type of relationship. So I think that's my biggest takeaway is that having that, in the bag is the key. Now, though, it's time for Maurice Claret's Program It If You're a Pirate.
Oh, dude, you better get out the way. Move, bitch. Get out the way.
So as always, I'm drawing from my bag of reality, right?
Box of content.
Wait. Time out. Yeah. Bag of reality. Bag of reality. Box. Wait a minute. I didn't miss that one, Mo. You tried to sneak that one fucking by us. It did not get through.
Yeah, so we do got the bag of reality. And the bag of reality is to shoot the motherfucking straight program, right? With no guns involved, right? No guns involved.
Well, maybe one. Maybe one. Okay.
I'm a fella, so I can't have any guns.
Okay, gotcha. You can't. All right. There you go. All right.
No, so I wanted to, so as usual, I tell everybody, I like to draw from real situations. And this was the thing that irritated me yesterday. It let me know I'm not as reformed as I would like to be. So
I like where this is
reformed. Taking it back to prison.
Here we go.
Yeah. So yesterday, I had a situation where there was a gentleman who said, hey, that he wanted to, he was getting ready to leave and go on to another company. So out of respect, I said, like, that's cool. If you feel like there's better opportunity for you elsewhere, like, please go on and do what you need to do. So in the process of doing this, there was a woman who works in the setting that he worked in. And through circumstance, the lady came up that he worked with, said, hey, I know that the guy's name is, let's call him Jeff. I know Jeff his name is not Jeff, but we'll call
Jeff's
him
Jeff. A perfectly good name for the story.
Yeah. So yeah. Jeff is leaving, but Jeff came to the lady. He tried to double back and said, hey, I'll come up under a different company, but I still want to do the same work in the same capacity, right? So the lady felt the need to tell another one of our staff members, right? And so then in turn, the staff member told me.
Of course.
So now when I get this information, I'm like sitting here and I tried to like be sane about it, but my temperature was just boiling, right?
Yes. In regards to Jeff,
right?
Okay. Fuck you, Jeff.
And so
fucking Jeff, dude.
Yes. and the reason it was boiling, it wasn't boiling because he wanted to leave the company, because everybody has reasons on why they want to leave. The reason is that I had invested personal time aside from business, sitting down, having lunch, talking, trying to mentor, trying to give information to, just trying to help a person on numerous occasions, and forgave the person for some stuff that they should have been fired for. Right. And so I was like, yo, I just was in big disbelief. Right. So fast forward the story. And I hate when this happens, right? You all know, like, when something's bothering you and like tomorrow you have to have the conversation, but you can't have the conversation today.
That
so
sucks.
The entire time so you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
So I get up in the morning, and from the time I get up in the morning, I take my daughter to the bus stop. I'm thinking about this. She's talking to me. I'm thinking about this. I come back, I'm working out. I'm thinking about this. I go down to the office. I'm thinking about this. And I'm trying to establish the mentality that I want to have And I'm trying to calm myself down before this even happens. And so when I first come in, I see him in the office, and it bothered me because like he didn't know that I knew what was going on.
Sure.
And so like I got bothered that he was just like, "Hey, what's going on?" Like basically like just bullshit.
Yeah, like he's punking you. No, he's punking Mo. He's like, "Hey, Mo, what's up, punk?"
So I said, so I went in and I said, okay, we gained a strategy around how we were going to do this, and this is where this is where the shooting straight became what it is, right? And so we go to the back room, we sit down, everybody has a discussion. I say, hey, I asked the woman who was in the meeting, I said, hey, could you lead this off and begin to talk about what was going on? And so the lady stated and laid out all the facts. And so I love to stay in a fact situation. The lady stated, hey, you are here, you get ready to leave. And throughout this situation, she stated that the lady had told her what he told her. And so he came there and he began to start to make all these excuses. And literally probably about after 30 seconds, I lost control of myself. And I said, motherfucker, will you quit lying? Right?
Yes.
And so
here comes Jeff. Here comes.
Yes. And so I looked him in his face and I said, it's really an insult to do what you did, to have us pay you to go and work for us, then to solicit the business that we've drummed up together and then give it to another person. I say, bro, do you understand that is like foul on every level? And I say, to have that lady to even have that conversation, for her to even say anything, bro, you knew you were wrong. And I say, on a personal level, like, this is just disrespectful to our friendship, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All this brotherhood, we cool, we're good guys type shit. And
Jeff was a friend?
Yeah, I would consider
acquaintance.
Like we were better than what a normal work relationship would be with somebody else, but we were cool enough to where we would hang out and have food and hang out together after work hours.
Backyard barbecue program with Jeff?
Yeah, he was cool enough to like do that stuff. So I consider this dude like a good guy. You know what I'm saying? And so
although you thought.
Yeah, although I thought. And so once I started shooting him straight and just talking to him directly about what I knew to be true, he put his head down and couldn't look at me. And I said, as a man, as I'm 35 years old, I'm not about to sit here and allow you to lie to me. And I'm not about to lie to you. And I said, my man, like, this is like the most shittiest thing that you could have probably done to somebody, right? And to allow money or another opportunity and the manipulation of what you would basically do to us and our company, I say is one of the most foulest things to do. And I guess the teachable or takeaway moment through this whole deal is to the takeaway moment is that anybody, right? And I don't care who you are, if you work for a company, you feel you need to move on, don't move on and take that company's resources, the people, the contacts, and then you move on to go do something else. If you're going to go move on, if you're going to go do something else, like, go move on, take your skill sets, take your talents and go do something else, right? Or if you have the balls and the nuts to go to that person and say, hey, I'm moving on because this is a better situation for me financially. Let me shoot you straight and let you know it's nothing against you. But when the guy began to sit down and he wanted to make up and concoct this whole story around why he wanted to leave, it was nothing more than they were paying you more money. But when you got paid more money, you had to bring people with you, which means you had to steal people from where you were currently at to go to this next company. And so, like, that is like the most honorable thing to do. But that's him shooting me straight and me shooting him straight. But then, we wouldn't have had to get into this funky space, but there's an integrity and there's honor that I think is lost in the age of the internet. You know what I'm saying? The internet breeds this big selfish, narcissistic, it's all about me mentality, where the integrity, where like you can be cool online, bro, but in life, I'm cool in real life. I'm honest in real life. I'm like a cool motherfucker in real life, and I'm gonna shoot you straight in real life. I may not be that great on the internet. And I think that's the biggest thing that frustrated me. I said, like, people, we're blurring, and this is serious. We're really blurring fantasy online reality from everyday, how you operate and how you deal with people reality. And there's no integrity inside of that. And so to the listeners who may even be in a certain situation, having your integrity in real life and not being a fucking bullshitter or like this fictitious bullshitter online means more than anything. And I'll let y'all two weigh in. My fault for taking you all the time.
No, man. I think you bring to me. It's a great point because I see it. I'll come from like a reality perspective, and I don't think respect and all that integrity you speak of, I don't think it lives in business. I think that if you are an entrepreneur looking to build something and you understand that burning bridges will come back to haunt you, and you're playing the long game, and that's a big if, right? Very small percentage understand that. So let's call it 95% of people in the workforce do not think like that and are not like that. Like here, I know a dude who's a very successful consultant, and he's successful because of one reason. The first time he got his consulting job, he opened up his resume online and he worked for a large consulting firm, and he would always bid himself out like, I'm looking for this. And then he would get outbid by another firm that wants information, on how this other firm operates. And every fucking year, dude gets a new job, but it's like an extra 80K. And he's always punking the other consulting firm that he works for. And I say to myself, okay, well, he's out for number one. He's not breaking any laws. Is there honor in that? That can be debated, because I just think it's a different world. And I completely agree with you, Maurice, that like, man, when you spend time with someone, like that's, I think this brings me to the having any sort of relationship where there's any sort of personal feelings involved in business is so dangerous, because if there wasn't this personal feeling towards this person, you'd be like, yeah, this is what motherfuckers do, right? That's what people do in business. You're out for number one. I'm not saying me. I'm just saying what I've seen. People are always going to take more money because that's what they think business is about. They're not playing the long game, and they're shopping themselves at all times. And if they can grab an extra 30 grand a year, and the caveat to that is their new company says, hey, you got to bring your trade secrets or proprietary information from the red zone over here, they're going to say yeah all day, because technically it's not illegal. And because of that, they think they're doing nothing wrong but progressing themselves and their family. And this is why I am so, let's say, cold when it comes to dealing with most people in business, because this is what happens.
Let me add something to that, John. And I tell people this all the time, and I'm not sure that they get it. Relationships are what change your life. Relationships, like every motherfucker can get money. If I get a good credit score and I got enough assets, I can go get money. You know what I'm saying? You change your life from having access to different relationships, right?
Yes, sir.
Like, like the short game is to get another buck, to get a quick buck, but who you're connected to and who that person is connected to and who can give you a cosign or who can speak up for you and give you an opportunity is the most powerful thing that you can have, right? And it's so short thinking. And I'm just talking to the listeners, like making an extra $5,000, making an extra 10 grand and ruining relationships because, I'm going to always be somebody, period. You know what I'm saying? I'm always going to be connected.
Straight Talk Wireless.
I mean, just, I'm
Straight Talk Express.
I mean, just like, I'm always going to have access to a certain level of person. I'm always going to have access around the country to certain people, where I can deliver opportunities to a person that, another person couldn't, you know what I'm saying? And I just call it what it is that it's not that I'm bragging, it's just the reality of it.
Well, Mo, you were just in a rap song. For those who don't know, Mo was just in a rap song by 2 Chainz. I'm making the announcement. Mo was just in a rap song.
NCAA.
It's called NCAA. And I don't know, I couldn't understand what 2 Chainz said. Shout out to 2 Chainz. I don't know what you said, but you said Maurice Claret.
Yeah. But John said it, I didn't, right? So... but I mean, I guess that's the one of the biggest takeaways is, man, just understanding that in life, like the little boy way is let me make a quick buck, let me run over here, let me steal something to get, like, let me get some more money to get some things, right? Not let me establish a relationship with some people and to position myself down the road. Cause you're going to need context and money and relationships at fucking 45 and 50, but when you burning bridges at 35, 34, 30, 27, all for a fucking quick buck, bro, that's like fucking kid thinking. And it's so fucking internet ages bitch ass shit. You know what I'm saying? And so Go ahead.
I'm gonna get
over the segment like 30 minutes.
No, you're good. You're good. I'm gonna give my 1 minute take, and then we'll move on to butt life, which sounds like a weird segue, but.
Yeah, butt life is squirming over here, dude. This dude's fucking moving around. He's just getting crazy.
Here's the thing, just like what Mo said. At the end of the day, that guy, fuck you, Jeff, outweighed that $5,000 in stealing that business was worth more than Maurice's relationship.
Yeah, pretty
when
much.
He could do all those things you just mentioned. And when people think that short term, one, you don't want them on your squad anyway, and two, their integrity sucks ass. And so if you look at things in a long-term, long-game play, which most of the world does not,
correct.
That's why they never get there. So
right.
Jeff, you're a fucking loser, and that's just the way it is. All right, next.
I'll segue it like this. DJ Khaled had the famous saying, "You played yourself."
Yeah. Yeah, Trey like that. All right, let's go. Butt Life, what we got for Q&A?
Butt Life, where you at? Butt Life had a problem. He literally just fell on the floor. It was amazing. But here he is. And you know what?
His butt got in the way.
Hey, no, when he hit the floor, he bounced up because his butt bounced him up. But here we go. Butt Life is here.
Yes, I'm here. All right, everyone. Keep on sending us questions at Biz and Biceps on Instagram and Twitter. If we use your question on the air, we'll send out a free t-shirt. First question. What are some ways to work around a fear of public speaking, gaining confidence, and not giving a fuck what other people think?
Doing it. So if you got to get your 5 friends in a room or 10 people you work with, doing it, because it is the most common human fear in the world. There's been multiple studies. So I think it's very normal to have that fear. We brought out this term on the show a handful of times, exposure therapy, right? So how do you get over it? Do it. Recreate what you're going to face so you feel it. So you feel the vibe of people watching you, judging you, and then how your body reacts. Cory, you famously talked about when we were at Zany's, your leg started shaking. Now, you did a great job, obviously, but your leg just started shaking. Like,
for no reason.
Yeah, those things happen, man. Yeah, like those things just happen because it is we're not used to it as human beings speaking, looking at people that are literally judging us as we speak. So my advice would be set up, recreate, and practice.
Yeah, so I'll talk about that real quick. So when we went out at Zany's, I'm used to always talking first. So in that format, I talk third. So John talked, and we were talking about serious shit too, right? Yeah. You talked. All of a sudden, I'm standing behind that chair. My left leg just starts shaking, but my heart rate wasn't up. I didn't feel nervous, like real nervous, but obviously there was something going on. My fucking leg just started shaking. I thought to myself, don't fucking pass out right now. This would be fucking terrible for the internet. Don't fucking pass. But when I started speaking, it went away. So, but here's the deal. I first spoke in front of 12 people and I fucking bombed it. And there was 2 takeaway. It was awful, right? And
I am Cory Gregory.
Oh, so bad. So 2 things. One, I was trying to act like this guy named Mike Healy, who I watched speak. I wasn't acting like myself. 2, I just think like I was, I don't know. I just didn't embrace kind of how I guess scared I was, or didn't realize how scared I was until I got up there, and then I just like fucking blanked. I looked like a fucking loser. And then, but here's what's crazy is the next speaking engagement I had at that time in my life was in front of 600 people. I went from 12 people and fucking sucking at it to 600, and I murdered it because I realized what I did wrong. And did I have the butterflies? Was I fucking nervous? It was like I was running out of the tunnel to be on the Ohio State's football field. Like, that's what I felt like, Mo. I don't know what that feels like, but that's what I felt, the butterflies, and I embraced it. And I thought, you know what? Be your fucking self, Cory, because if you're just yourself, good, bad, or indifferent, at least it's going to come off authentic, and it did. So you have to embrace it. You got to go for it, and just doing it and running into essentially the fear is what I did. And it really, ever since that day, I've never had a problem. I know, Mo, you speak all the time. Go ahead.
Oh, I mean, just a few different things to help me get over it. And one, you're going to always have some sense of, if you care about what you're doing, you're going to have some sense of butterflies or nerves because you care about performing or having the ability to perform and do a good presentation. And so one thing that helps me is I look at people and in my head, I say, hey, motherfucker, if you think it's this easy, you get up here and do it. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know why that makes sense to me, but it gives me a lot more comfort that I'm accepting that it's not easy. And then two, that like, you know, if you have something to say, motherfucker, you try this shit, you see how hard it is. You know what I mean? But
it's like a self-talk challenge in a way, Mo.
Yeah, 100% self-talk. But one thing that keeps me comfortable is that I don't go up there and try to act like anything other than myself. And so I think that people set unrealistic. So this is what happens. People go to the internet and they look up professional speakers and people who have, you know, their own gifts or their own pitches in their voices. And
Tony Robbins.
People who may be motivated, big personalities. I don't have a big personality or a big voice. You know, I'm like a reserved dude. And so I didn't think that translated well at first. But what I am good at is that I'm good at articulating what I'm talking about. And so I let me articulate what I'm talking about and the facts of what I'm talking about of what I know become my presentation. And if my presentation has a lid on it and it may not be as big as Tony Robbins, I'm cool with that because I'm living my truth. You know what I'm saying?
Word.
So like, that's the only advice that I can give to the guy. You know, you may want to public speak, but you may not be the guy with the big voice and
that's
big
okay.
Personality. That's 100% okay. And there's an audience for you. Just like I found an audience for me and people I connect with. I've been able to articulate and cuss at any forum that I want to, tell my story, talk about what is real to me, and people accept that because they're like, oh, this dude is just in a fashionable way. He's telling his deal. And I don't go outside of that. And if I did go outside of that, it'd be an authentic way of me growing. But I would tell the guy, just don't get on stage and try to be more than what you are. Just be exactly who you are. Explain what you're trying to explain and leave it at that and get better.
Yep.
There it is. Next question.
Q2 Butt Life.
How can I extract the most from a mentor? I'm 19 years old and I recently just set up an unpaid internship in return for being mentored. I want to do my best work for him as well as extract as much information as possible.
I think that's taking the time. Let's say you're there 20 hours a week and really being informed and understanding what the mentor is doing. Because outside of doing what we've talked about many times, right, being a fly on the wall and watching how this mentor operates, I think you need to give yourself some backstory, some information, some understanding of who he's talking to, right? Why he's talking. So I think maybe asking some good questions like, hey, while I'm kind of sitting here learning from you, I'd love to know what your 10 o'clock is about, just so I can see how you navigate questions and how you get your points through and all that stuff. So I think basically giving yourself context while you're a fly on the wall will help you understand how a mentor or a leader operates from start to finish, as opposed to just watching him and not knowing that he's on the phone with a manufacturing facility in China and he's having trouble communicating with them. Like, you need to know exactly what's going on. And I think it's fair to ask honest questions if you are there to learn.
Yeah, I think I'll piggyback on that. I think it's creating a strategy to extract the most information while you're there. I mean, at the end of the day, if somebody said to me, look, they've been with me all week, they're interning, and they said, look, I saw you do 4 or 5 things this week. I had an extra question about how did you manage this? What was your strategy on that? Could you basically, what's your intention here? Like, honest, real questions based around facts of what you actually saw me do. And then you want to learn from that. I think that'd be real cool. Like, if any of these guys did that, I probably wouldn't text them back. I'd probably call them and explain it. You know what I mean? Because those are like, at the end of the day, people that are fucking busy, and you provoke thought to them, and you've actually obviously had a strategy and thought about it deeply. Like, there's a respect there because that really shows you're trying to get better. So that's why I always tell people are always scared to ask questions. But if you're asking some surface ass bullshit, then you should be scared. If you're real and you're actually like dialed in, motherfuckers are going to get that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, Will. Sorry.
No, I think mentors only work if you know what you're looking for on the front side. And I think that your objectives of what you're trying to get accomplished personally have to be outlined. I think some people get around people who are just successful and they just want time, but they don't actually know what they're looking for.
Yeah.
But if I got around Cory and I'm a guy, it would specifically to be, how do I be a better businessman in fitness? You know what I'm saying? And that way my questions would line up to what I'm asking you or what I'm looking for. So I wouldn't care so much about what Cory was doing if Cory was just fucking loafing around the office. But when you were getting with Trey or getting with yourself in the fitness business, I would be dialed in and I would be trying to ask questions to leverage my time, understanding that you can't give me all of your time. And so to the listener, man, understanding what you're looking for on the front side of going in somewhere. And then also, after you find what you're looking for, to always have that person as a contact, but then maybe there's something else that somebody else may have that you're not wasting your time with that guy. He may have given you everything that he could give you for the reasoning of being around him. And then now it's time for you to go either apply it or look for somebody else or something else or a book to advance yourself in a different capacity.
Yeah, I mean, real quick, if Cory was my mentor, I think my first question would be, when I'm with you, kind of shadowing you in the gym, what do you mean by you can milk these nipples, son, or you can milk these nipples, boy?
I think I said you can milk
Mr.
these
Gregory,
titties.
what do you mean by you can milk these titties, boy? And it's 4:30 in the morning and you're running around like a lunatic. I would say, Mr. Gregory, how do you milk those titties, boy? But that's just me. But we'll move on to the third question.
John, I'll answer your question later at the end of the week.
Okay. I'm scared of the answer.
Do you guys think that college hinders the creative minds of entrepreneurs by guiding them through the typical interview, internship, career path instead of encouraging creative minds to not think a little differently than everyone else sitting in the classroom?
1 zillion times 50%. And I don't even know what that is. So, but I think you guys
milk these titties, boy.
Milk these titties, boy, B-O-I. So what I would say is, back to how I opened the show, the individual I was speaking about went to college. And I think that's why the individual thought from 1 to 2 o'clock, that's my time, right? Because in school, everything is, you go to this class from this time and no, motherfucker. No, that's not how it works. That structure. That's not how business works. Business is supply and demand on every level. And that applies to time. That applies to information and all the fucking fake ass structure that business teaches you. Business does not teach you the ebb and flow. I'm sorry. School does not teach you the ebb and flow of business. So what may be on the schedule for Monday could be flipped on its motherfucking head because something came up, and it's like a 100% audible. And college minds, I don't really think can grasp that. Say, well, I'm prepared for what was on the schedule. Wait, you can't just change the schedule. Yeah, I can, motherfucker, because that's what the business fucking needs. No human being, no one person can predict what the business needs. I don't even care if you're trying to forecast 24 hours in advance. Something could happen that could throw the agenda on its fucking head. And people who go to school, they cannot process that. Like, it's so fucking out of bounds for them. So I think it absolutely hinders it.
Here's this might make some people upset. You guys ever watch The Walking Dead?
I've never watched.
All right.
I know you're a big fan, Cory. You're a big fan.
Yeah, so they have this thing called a herd of zombies, right? And so everybody just walks the same way. There's about 1,000 motherfuckers. They actually dead, but they just walking.
Well, they're zombies.
That's what that shit reminds me of, because that's what it teaches you to do. One way of thinking in a drone mentality, and that if a curveball's thrown to you, you're going to miss it. And at the end of the day, it's like, if you're just walking in line with everyone else, that's why I'm excited to talk about the traits of entrepreneurship or entrepreneurs, because this speaks to this more than anything. Like, it absolutely hinders it. It puts you in a box. You're only prepared for what that test on that day. And dude, I sucked at all that stuff because there is no like ebb and flow. And I never wanted to be like everyone else my whole fucking life. I was like, this is how 97% of the fucking world operates. I can't do that. I just don't want to do it. I have no aspiration to do it. And that's what that shit does for you. It's the fucking Walking Dead zombie walk.
Zombie walk. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, my opinion towards college, it has always been the same. If you're going to specialize in a specialty area that deserves a licensure or some extensive training. Physician, engineer,
licensure. I like that word.
attorney.
It's a nice
I agree with Mo on
Nice
this point.
word.
Just saying.
Yes.
Go ahead, Mo.
Yes, 'cause I don't want my
After
doctor,
my zombie walk.
and listen, I don't want my doctor getting a fucking community degree. You know what I'm saying?
All right, I agree.
You don't want your
Yeah, I want my
doctor
ankle
fucking majoring in liberal arts.
Hey, you don't want your doctor taking my class at Columbus State? Is that what's wrong?
No, I do not want my doctor taking Professor G's class at Columbus State, where he greets his students as "Yo, homie."
Yeah, in a wife beater.
Yeah, can you milk these titties, boy? Sorry, Mo. Sorry, Mo.
But you know, like I mean, and more power to people who are going to college for the experience. But if I was in college and I was trying to get the most out of it, if I was sitting in that situation, I would look at that as the mentality that is being trained to. I would look at college as the space where my future employees are getting trained. And I would look at their mentality and I would find out how they could be of better service to what business that I'm about to start. But I in our business, we deal with a lot of people who are freshly coming out of college, and the mentality is mundane and is very structured, and it isn't loose and fluid, and it doesn't mimic the actual work environment. And people struggle because they hop from place to place, assuming that it will be different. And then they find out that there's more there's more of me's hiring than there is of them's who are flexible in their thinking, and they always come back to the same space. And what school is teaching is not what's mimicking in the real world. And so, more power to you, my brother. But if you have aspirations to be an entrepreneur or a businessman, gracefully tell your mother or your father, hey, I don't want to do that. Let me live my truth in my life and go be what you want to be. And if you struggle doing it at first, that's cool, because you'll learn some shit. And that's what it is.
Hey, and now we're going to go over some traits that we all kind of saw growing up and on forward. So I can't wait to get to the main event. Let's go.
Ring the bell, Cory. Ring the bell.
Ding, ding. All right. Main event. So I'm going to start with you, Johnny. Give me some traits as a youngster in Chi-Town, not 7'12" at that point, but
someone argue.
Hey, I tell you, hey, look, you know what? I appreciate it. I can appreciate his picture he put on IG, him, his mother, and his brother.
I thought it was awesome.
Nah, because you know what it did? I'm a junkie for like those old filters, those cameras.
Hell yeah!
But like it just looked like, I don't know, it looked like a time when I was younger. But that was a cool picture you put.
It was real cool.
Thank you.
That's why I put it in the notes. I thought it was dope. We need to have him talk about it one day. But John, tell us some of the stuff about when you was growing up, man, that showed these entrepreneurial traits.
Yeah. So the one thing I would say I first realized is I would upset a lot of, like, real young. I'd upset a lot of my friends because I'd convince them that we should trade toys, right? So sometimes I wouldn't get the toys I wanted, but like I would bundle together some old ass He-Man that were like beat up, you know, had some eye patches on them and shit. And I'd be like, hey, that new Millennium Falcon you got like from Star Wars, like for 3 He-Man, how can you tell me that's not worth it? I'm giving you 3 He-Man. I ain't giving you 1. You're only giving me 1 Millennium Falcon, but the Millennium Falcon was like $100, right? So I would always end up getting these fucking epic toys, these brand new toys, and dudes would be like holding some fucking He-Man from 1982. And then like a day later, my mom would get a phone call from the parents of my friends, and they'd be like, do you know your son stole this from my fucking son? And I was like, no, man, I traded, right? And that was like the beginning of me seeing an opportunity and trying to convince another individual, whether I was 5 years old or not, that what I was presenting them was worth them giving up their possession. And as it moved on, I've brought this up before. I would go to Funco Land, which is GameStop now. And my mom always talks about this. The fucking 30-year-old managers, when I'd walk in, would be like, oh, fuck, the kid's here. Because I would not accept the price. They'd have this price list, like a Super Nintendo game, $6, you know, because I'd always traded my video games. And I would just literally, I loved the environment there. I loved being inside there. So if I had to stay there for 4 hours, I'm winning, right? I'm a fucking 7-year-old. I'm winning. So I would grind these fucking guys down until they gave me an extra $3 for this game. And I'd match 3 games up and get the fucking newest game always, or else I'd stay. And I'd wear these fucking guys out. I wasn't aware I was doing it, but it fucking worked. And it's just these little traits of knowing what you want and not giving up until you get it. So I was never thinking, oh, if there's a will, there's a way. I was just like, I want that. And I'm going to figure out how to get that. And I did. And I'll end it before I pass it off because I can go on and on with my 2nd grade report card. I convinced my mom. I said, Mom, I want a CD. And she's like, oh, yeah? She's like, what CD? I'm like, oh, don't worry about the CD. I'm like, if I get straight A's, I never got straight A's. If I got straight A's, will you get me this CD? Because I wanted it so fucking bad. She says, yeah. If you get straight A's, I'll get you the CD. So I got straight A's for that term. Well, the CD was Easy E, Easy Does It. And when we walked in,
yes.
Okay. There's a lot of interesting songs. Anyone can go look it up. And I was in 2nd grade, and my mom grabbed it, and she's like, what is this? And then she looked on the back, and obviously there was some. I was like, Mom, it's all like fun stuff. It's like fun. Like I remember just using the word fun over and over again. She's like, it says parental advisory. And she's like, John, they won't let you ring it out on your own. I have to do it. What aren't you telling me? I said, nothing, Mom. This is fun. And by the way, I got straight A's. And she said, all right.
Such a salesman.
And I got my first CD was Easy E, Easy Does It. And I encourage every listener to listen to just the opening track and picture 2nd grade me just fucking rocking to it. So that's my injection into the beginning of this conversation.
Now it all makes sense, Mo.
Easy,
right?
Yeah.
Good, Mo.
Man. Yeah, I think when I just thought about this, I think my introduction of one thing that I loved with entrepreneurship came from Monopoly. When I was a kid, and I think anybody who loves the game Monopoly, and you're talking about playing it, you're talking about buying property, trading properties, trying to accumulate as much money and as much property as possible, and it's really the real estate game 101. I think that was another thing. I can also remember back to me having the wherewithal to go to the store because my mother would be going to work, and I would buy candy from the store, and then I would bag up mixtures of candy, and I would go to school and sell candy to kids who couldn't go to the store. And so, 50 cents a dollar was a lot of money when you're a kid.
Yeah.
You're in 2nd and 3rd grade, and I would have my candy in the bathroom ceiling, in the lunchroom. And so they had to drop ceilings. I would get on the toilet
yes.
and hide it up there. And it would be funny as shit. And I used to have my buddy Ronald. He would be like the runner. Like we would always take turns on going to the bathroom. But
the runner on Jolly Ranchers.
So good.
And but as I got older, I think I don't know if I told you all this. I don't know where I mentioned it before. I think that I got the knack for entrepreneurship just watching my brother, because my brother started selling drugs when he was young, and I watched my grandmother. She owned a hotel, but just to think about this, my grandmother, she was born in 1915, and this was around, I would say in the 80s. She was running like a 22 bedroom motel.
That's
called
cool,
the Tremont
Mo.
Park Motel. Which is interesting in itself, because I just think back to her. I know I'm getting off track, but to be a black woman running a motel in the 80s is like unheard of. You know what I'm saying? Even now, if she was doing it, I would still call it like something. And I never got the history on that, but a lot of that stuff just came from watching her and watching my aunt and watching my older brother, and me wanting to like have this sense of independence over myself. And so when I start selling drugs, that was in the 7th grade. There was a lady who helped me or taught me how to cook drugs and to sell them, and not basically the best means, but the whole process of getting a product for, $10 and being able to sell it for $20 to $25 had basically got
can we get a name for her, or an alias at least, for the woman who taught you to cook?
Yeah, her Miss Lanice, that's my lady.
She gets a miss for okay.
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
I like
so let me. So
She must be an OG.
So
yeah,
so
exactly.
Let me say. I'll say this, right. So I'll say the story. It's not as ruthless as it is. So this will happen, right? So This is how crazy this is.
I can't wait. I'm on the edge of my seat.
Yeah, so she was the lunch aide, right? So
at the school?
At the school.
This motherfucker.
That's epic.
So look, so she was the lunch aide at the school, and she was like, "Hey, I'm looking for your brother." And and mind you, I was a big kid. I was probably like 200 pounds in the 7th grade. You know what I'm saying? Like 5'11". And so she's like, "I'm looking for your brother." And I was always in this shit, and I was like, he's not around, but I said, I'm looking the cop, right? And so I lied to her, you know what I'm saying? And so I had basically had about a couple $100, and she's like, you got some money? I said, yeah. She's like, well, I know somebody you can buy it from. And I was like, all right. So I gave her my $250, right? And this was at this time I was buying a 1/4 ounce of dope, right?
Yes.
So I didn't even know at this time. I was like, just go get me $250 worth of dope. I had no fucking clue
how much you was about to get.
All right.
So here we go.
So she said, come to my house after school. And so I came to her house after school. And the $250, she had cooked up like $700 worth of dope, right? Or $800, right? And so this was like some good crack or good cocaine, right? So she said,
"So out the door, you selling fucking crack, Mo?
Yeah.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
Freebase that shit, Mo."
So here's the funny shit.
How much crack can I get for $250, lunch lady?
Yeah,
hey, that's a lot of crack, dude.
Yeah, so but she added, she cut it. She put baking soda. It was like this. The dope was good, but it cooked up to a lot of crack. I tell you like that, right? So the next thing you know, I got like $600-700 in dope. She said, just give me 50 for doing it. And then she said, you can sit at my house and just sell out my house. Right. So I'm at her house. So look, I would go to school in the morning, come home. Funny shit, yo. So I would come home from track practice because it's like in the springtime. Yeah. And I would just sit there and she would bring all the friends over. And so after she would do this, my brother wouldn't know. And so she was the one to teach me how to rent, drug addicts' cars. And now, like, I'm the 7th grader renting people's cars and driving to, like, our little functions. And I was just like,
you know how wild this sounds? My kid's in 8th grade.
Hey,
like, you know how wild this shit sounds to me right now?
Shout out to Miss Lanice, dude.
Hey. I think Miss Lanice was trying to get something else.
Dude, hey, we should have Miss Lanice be a guest on the show. Mo, get Miss Lanice. I want to interview her.
I don't know where she's at, but God bless her, man. But so I manipulated her to think. I manipulated her to make her believe that I was already selling drugs since my brother was doing it. And so she just was like, hey, I'm just helping this guy get what he normally does. And so from there, I really learned. So I learned the game from a woman. And so then by the time my brother found out, it was too late. He was like, man, this motherfucker's off and running already. I can't tell him shit. He already got his own spot, his own people, his own drugs, his own deal. And just like, even when you talk about, like, my daughter's in the 8th grade, right? Like, it just sounds like
crazy, right, Mo?
The 90s are a different time.
Hey, to think that, Mo, you didn't even get like a dime bag. You went straight to selling crack.
Yeah.
That's fucking interesting.
Hey, funny shit.
All right, so mine is not that hardcore, but so here I don't know if I can follow that up, Mo. I'm gonna tell you my.
Epic.
All right, so what I did was baseball cards, football cards was my jam, 100% early on. I liked both sports, and I've always had a passion for the old versions of the sport. So I would study. It's kind of ironic because I'm seeing it in my youngest right now. I would study the old timers because I knew the kids my age. We're talking like between 2nd and 5th grade. They wouldn't know them. They would only know the common new guys. I had this idea that I was like, all right, Bo Jackson and Dion, they was current, so they weren't really worth any money because they was just playing ball at the time. But I studied Terry Bradshaw, Bart Starr, Joe Green, Fran Tarkington, Roger Staubach, like Dick Butkus. Like I studied Walter Payton. Like even Walter Payton was kind of current. So I studied
Fred Belindikoff,
all them guys. Yeah. So here's what happened is my grandma had a stack of Sports Illustrateds from the 50s through the 70s. And so, because there's no internet, right? Yeah. So I would study and read
Mo
these
loves
magazines.
the internet. Yeah.
Mo does love the internet. I would study and read these magazines out of like a passion to find who I should be looking for. So then this is what started to happen is these kids started bringing their parents cards, like their dads that had collected cards to school to start to trade.
So the dads didn't know that.
They didn't know that. Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I've already made this clear with my kid, like you ain't touching any of my cards, right? And so here we go. Before you know it, Joe Montana rookie starts showing up. Oh, same with John. Hey, I'll give you these 3 2 Bo Jacksons, a Nolan Ryan, blah, blah, blah. I would make these deals they can't refuse. I knew
legendary cat.
Man, I knew that motherfucker's worth $200 because I had Beckett. So I had it all planned out. I would see what people would have. I'd say, what kind of offer can I make them on these common cards that are worth fucking, $15 max? And I created a collection that I still have to this day.
Are cards worth anything still?
Decent, nothing crazy, but like I have
if they're graded, the grading.
If they're graded,
what does that mean?
That's basically you send them off to get so they can tell you the exact like mint condition, near mint, and that gives you the idea of how much they're worth.
Oh, like graded.
Yeah,
it's like a multiplier. It's a multiplier.
Yeah. And so I never really went to the point to have all that done, but I would know at the level like who I was looking for. So over time, I'm a kid that's like, man, I'm like, I don't know, 8 or 10 years old. I'm putting together, Fran Tarkenton rookie, Terry Bradshaw rookie, OJ Simpson rookie, which I still have, a bunch of stuff like that. And then I would
that's a great one, OJ.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the value went down on that.
That's a great one to show your.
So, but anyway, so at the end of the day, here's kind of what I took from that. I found a way from research to understand where there would be value and opportunity at really young. And then I executed on it at a high level and created a card collection that I still have to this day that's worth like thousands and thousands of dollars. Now flip this back. My kid who's 7 years old right now is watching YouTube old Super Bowls and is also understanding, like he's asking me, Dad, Lynn Swann, like he was amazing, right? And then how many Hall of Famers are on this team? And the other day, his birthday is actually in a couple days. He had got a bunch of birthday money from all the families, like a little over $100. He spent it on a 1981 top set because it had a Joe Montana near mint rookie in it. I swear to you, looked all this shit up himself.
Oh, wow.
It's almost like replaying it in my mind. He brought it up to me on Amazon and was like, Dad, this one has the most Hall of Famers in it. It's all these guys I've been watching from YouTube. And, can I use my birthday money for this? And I brought it up. I said, man, if we break this set down, this set's worth X. So you're actually going to be up $150 if you buy this set. So anyway, it's kind of wild how it's replaying.
You're teaching them about investing, though.
Absolutely. Pretty cool.
Oh, listen to me. Well, I got a collection.
I didn't sell any crack, though.
I got a collection
more
of
power to Miss Lanice. Shout out.
Yeah. So I have a collection of cards in my house, but I got the only thing I held on to was I have like this Bulls from like 95, 96, like all that era.
Yeah.
Like probably 93 through 96. I got a bunch of Bill Cartwright, John Paxson,
Bill Cartwright,
Steve Kerr, Pippen, Horace Grant. Horace Grant used to be my favorite players.
Yeah, he's legit.
And then I have remember the Dream Team?
Of course.
Yeah, Chuck
I got
Daly.
all those cards.
I got all those cards. Yeah. So those are the only cards I held on to. I don't even know what other cards that I do have, but I guess we didn't even have a place to buy them. I don't know. I don't know if I
just bought mine at the grocery store.
Remember the department store Hills?
Hills, yeah, of course.
I remember that one. We used to go to Hills to grab cards.
That's cool. Johnny, was there anything else maybe along, maybe we could weigh in one more time each, middle school or high school?
So, I think just like outside of, let's say stories, I'll flip it a little bit. If people are listening, I think they heard some just awesome, stories. And
Miss
Lanice, shout out. I want to meet her. But anyways, I think it's about knowing what you want and being so determined to get it that you don't stop until you figure out a strategy to get it. Because if you think about everything we all just talked about, it was like we wanted something and we didn't really know how to get it. We didn't really even process that we were like, oh, this is the setup to get it, right? Like we would do in business to set up a business model to create reoccurring revenue. We just saw an opportunity and we saw something we wanted and we implemented either skills or things or the way we acted or the way we spoke to get what we want. And to me, that is the DNA of an entrepreneur. And if you combine that ability with the ability to see opportunity, right? Like that's another big trait of entrepreneurs that I don't think other people see. And I'll just use me and you, Cory, as an example. Mm-hmm. Like all my peers in the UFC world told me I was the stupidest son of a bitch to take on Muscle Farm as a client because they don't pay their bills. And I looked at it completely differently because Muscle Farm was spending the most money in the space. And yes, they were paying their bills later, but I knew if they're spending all that money, I needed one thing to get it. I just needed a financial backbone of a couple $100,000 because I would probably have to front them money. And then I can get all that money. And all these people who are thinking, oh, it's been 30 days. They owe me money. It's been 6. No, you stupid motherfucker. If you had the ability, if you had the financial backbone to front it for 4 months, for 6 months, all their bills get paid. They just get paid late. So get that financial backbone, and all of a sudden you just got yourself the biggest account in the space. That's seeing opportunity where other people see delinquent payment. But I proved that it was an opportunity, and it literally spiraled into so many other companies because Muscle Farm was so visible. And so other companies are like, well, shit. Oh, you're doing that? Okay. Yeah, I'm with you. And I always feel like saying, like, entrepreneurs see gold where others see garbage. Truly.
Yeah.
And then they find a way to put structure and strategy around it, to act on it, to actually transition. It's like recycling, right? What do they do with recycling's garbage? And then they turn it into fucking, TV stands and PlayStations and fucking like MacBook fucking like it's just recycled, right? So yeah. I think seeing the opportunity and having the confidence to seize the opportunity is something also that's part of our DNA.
I'm going to shed some light on that story because that's the truth, John. A lot of people only saw the problem that we created for people. That was, we were spending money at such a high level that we were behind all the time. But to your point, we always did pay our bills. And that was just kind of part of what came with working with us, right? Because we were so aggressive. And you said, instead of saying, hey, this is a problem, you said, well, shit, my strategy is if I get this business, I can leverage it against the rest of the people in the sport. It puts me out front of every other manager, and I'm just going to have to front some money.
Right.
Now, when we say front money, Mo, you like this, I owed John $440,000 once. Like, it wasn't no little bullshit. Like, John got his shit together, came at us, got the deal, leveraged the fuck out of all of that stuff he said, and it propelled him to the best in the sport. I mean, he was the guy 100%. And, but it wasn't because it was like given. He earned every bit of it and took on that risk that Correct. Made it easier on us. So it was an opportunity. Instead of seeing it as a problem, he saw it as an opportunity because of his confidence. So I just want to kind of shed from my side of things. It was pretty cool, Johnny.
Yeah, no, I just say like this, if you're into selling, if you're into trading, bartering, if you like to own your own time, and not like in this hypersensitive, hyper active internet age world where you say, hey, I just want to be a boss for the sake of being a boss. But I'm talking about down to your skill set and what you really enjoy doing. And let me add this on too. If you don't mind just working a fuck ton, like you're an entrepreneur, and I want to say this because I wanted to say this throughout the process. Like there's no, let me get to a beach, let me get to a jet, let me stop working, let me kick my feet back up. I'm an entrepreneur and money just comes in overnight. Like the entrepreneurial life never stops. But the thing is that you enjoy what you're doing because you seem to, you try to find spaces or things that you align yourself with that you just are happy with doing. And it doesn't matter if you're doing it for 2 hours or 20 hours, you just enjoy doing it. Sometimes grueling, but you have a smile on your face while you're doing it because it's just part of the process. And so there's no space that you ever get to. And I think that's a big misconception because we have, I got a jet, I got a beach, I got a vacation. And that lifestyle is often tied to people who are entrepreneurs and is totally false. Being an entrepreneur is just having a fuck ton of appreciation for loving to do work endlessly that you may not get paid for right away, kind of like what John was talking about. And having that delayed gratification, having that long game in mind, understanding that you're building your runway for a longer takeoff or for a longer deal. And I got to say, that's the funnest part of the shit now. Now that I figured it out, like knowing that what I'm working on right now won't make sense until about August. You know what I'm saying?
And that's okay.
I totally get it because I understand the process now. And I think if I understood that process a little bit earlier, maybe my thinking wouldn't have been so short. But I think some people get caught up into the instant gratification or have to have money for this thing or looking towards your peers and comparing yourself to what they have in comparison to what you don't have. When you get caught up into that shit, like you just lose yourself and you lose the long game. And then you get back into the rat race of doing shit that Jeff did.
Fuck you, Jeff.
Jeff. Fucking Jeff.
One of the things I want to bring up that I always had as a youngster and still to this day is like the curiosity of how shit is happening. Like this is nonstop for me. If I walk into an event or a thing that has a price tag to it, I'm doing all the numbers in my head.
Running the math.
Right. Every time, even though I'm not as good as math at Johnny, so I might be a little off. But at the end of the day, I'm trying to figure out there's this many motherfuckers in the room. They done paid $2,000 a piece. This place to rent probably costs this. All that goes through my head without even trying,
the production
right?
Of it.
And it's always done that. Obviously, I understand things a lot more as an adult, but even as a kid, I would find myself figuring like, how much does this guy really make? Like, what's going on? Like, there was always an intriguing thought based around how this or that person was making money or making it happen. And I don't know, it just would flow naturally. So when I think about myself growing up, based off the baseball cards, based off different business things I would be around, which was a very small sample size. Like a good example in high school, the guy who owned the local convenience store that was kind of like the rich dude I knew, like I only knew really one dude I thought was rich. He started building these storage places and I would see it. And I did the research, in high school, even I stopped by and asked like how much it costs. And he built one building and they were like $50 a piece. Well, then half a year later, he built a second building. There's fucking 15 buildings out there now. They're still there. He would fill them up and then he built another one and then fill them up and then build another one. And I started doing, and he started telling me, he said, they're not heated. They're fucking, there's no upkeep. People fucking do, basically.
The damn like, garage.
It's a damn garage. But I would be so interested in watching, once again, as a fly, but then intrigued enough about doing the math in my head. That was just always a natural thing for me.
Yeah.
Oh, so curiosity. But hey, we're running long. We probably need to chop this mug. Look, I was excited to get back on the mic with you guys. It was really good. I can't wait for this rejuvenation of business and biceps. We about to kill it.
Yeah,
sir.
So it's brought to you by HoneyBook. You must go to honeybook.com because we would like to give you 50% off of a full year. If you go to honeybook.com and use the promo code biceps, you might ask yourself, what is HoneyBook? HoneyBook has everything set up for you as a new business owner, from purchase orders to invoice systems and all these things that you're going to be running into that you need to make sure that you're smooth and right out the gate as a new business or a current business that just needs to get this stuff under control. Go to honeybook.com and use the promo code biceps for 50% off. And if you want to refinance your college debt, where do they go, Mo?
It's only one place to go, and that is CommonBond. CommonBond.co/biceps is the only place to go. I say it all the time. You have 10 minutes, or you took 10 minutes to basically get yourself in debt. Take another 10 to 15 minutes to get yourself out of debt, fill out the application, and see what CommonBond can basically do for you. They save, on average, over the lifespan of a loan, $24,000, and everybody can use an additional $24,000.
Man, what? Of course.
All right, so go to, again, just in case you didn't hear me, CommonBond.co/biceps and tell them that we sent you.
If you're a new listener or a current listener that just keeps hitting the listen button, make sure you hit the subscribe button so we pop up on your phone each time so you never miss an episode of Business and Biceps.
And Cory, you cannot forget that at Biz and Biceps is our IG handle, and the account's growing, man. We're uploading clips every day. We're starting to go to the archives. We're starting to go to some old classic stuff that I think people obviously due to emails are enjoying. And at Biz and Biceps is where you can find us on IG.
Absolutely. Maurice Claret, Johnny Fosco. Can the podcast be stopped?
The podcast can't be stopped.